so today we're going to be going over the biggest hair trends for 2025. We're going to talk about color, cuts and shapes, and styles and overall vibe that I think we're going to be seeing for this year. My name is Sylvia. If this is your first time here, I'm a licensed hairdresser that's been sharing pro color formulas and hair tutorials on YouTube for over 10 years. And I thank you for your continued trust in me and coming back for more fun hair info. I hope you've had an amazing start to the year. I love a new year. I love a reset, a refresh. My birthday's in January. I was born on a Monday. I'm all about like the new. And I'm so glad to kick the year off with this video for you. Also just wanted to know we're going through a little bit of a rebrand, refresh, just breathing new life into Ellebangs. It's about time. And with that idea of coming to you with new, fresh hair inspo and ideas, I do have a special announcement, so stay till the end of the video to hear more. All right, let's get into hair trends for 2025. I have to start with color because I think this is the one that I think is the most prominent, the most screams 2025 elevated hair. And the main thing with color is just low contrast. So whereas if you were to kind of like look at it as a whole, it looks like one color. The least contrast, the better. I feel like in the past years, we, with balayage and with root smudges and all that, and not that those things are not still going to be done, they're just going to be done in a much more subtle, soft way. So we're going to be seeing rich, chocolatey brunettes, like so rich that they look wet. This is the best way I can describe it, but the hair is just luscious and like creamy looking, which is not something I feel like we've seen for brunettes in a long time. Last year, I remember when everyone was saying that old money and quiet luxury was out and that mob wife was in, I feel like that was in for 5 minutes. And aside from fur coats, none of that trend survived. And what did prevail is that like quiet luxury. That I think is here to stay for a while as an overall vibe. Sure, there will be other like smaller trends kind of popped in, but the main now I do feel like we're seeing more blonde than I feel like we have in maybe the last 5-6 years. But the blonde, once again, is that soft old money blonde. So basically staying away from that platinum, ashy, bleach, just bright blonde in your face to something way more muted. And although I do feel maybe more golden / weedy kind of blonde is in, it should still absolutely suit your skin tone. So if you have to go a little bit cooler, you absolutely can, but the overall vibe here is just a little bit more toned down. I think we're gonna see less copper. I feel like last year copper was actually one of the bigger trends, as well as like the cherry red. And the thing I like about those two colors is that it's not a cool red or a golden red that's in. I always think that like when trends come out like that don't suit everyone's skin tone, it always just makes me want to shake my head, because trends should be there to kind of enhance and refresh your look, not to tell you that you should wear something that doesn't suit you. Now, let's talk about cuts. I feel like we finally saw some like exciting things happening with cuts in the last year. The bob was at an all-time high. Butterfly, wolf cuts, the more extreme layered looks, a ton of volume. It was like something brand new, it felt, and it was something we hadn't seen in a while. I actually think the overall volume and overall layering is going to be a little toned down this year. So definitely layering, still like very feminine, but soft. Whereas last year was all about seeing that layering happen. Whereas I feel like this year it's about that grown out layer that looks really soft. One thing that I have to point out that I feel like never happens in trends, typically when one thing is really in, the exact opposite will be in the next year. And I feel like this is the kind of one of the first times that I at least remember kind of in my lifetime where the next trend kind of suits the previous trend. And what that means is with our bobs last year, I feel like this year the length is mid-length. We haven't had a mid-length be in so long. With the insertion of extensions, I feel like long hair was in for so long, and it was either long or a chic bob. And it was like those two extreme opposites. And I feel like now it's kind of that in between. And I'm not saying this because I'm personally growing out a bob, but super long extension-y hair, I don't feel like is in. It feels very 2021 to me. I don't know, especially if it's boxy and kind of the very long beachy wave straight ends. I feel like that look is kind of expired. We've seen it. Can it still look good? Yes, but it's not new and soft in 2025. So with that being said, in terms of length, I think a mid-length is in. Soft layering. Again, very soft, very understated. I know that this all might sound kind of boring, but I think this is where we contrast to what was in last year. So a very chiseled bob, very layered cuts. We're softening that and more mid-length. I think the mid-length is the rebellious length of this year because you're not caving to the bob and you're not caving to extensions. And not to say that you can't have long hair without extensions. That was, I think, what brought up the long hair trend was that everyone had extensions at one point. For me, last year in 2024, I chopped my hair. I got rid of extensions. I dissolved all my filler, and with a really big birthday coming this month, and maybe not the best time for this decision with a big birthday coming up, but I've also decided to lay off Botox. Maybe forever, but at least for now. I'm just leaving in the last year things that I felt like I was always chasing. And one thing that I'll say that I feel like has given me a new confidence in that what I have is me. And I think sometimes when I was getting the Botox or the filler or the extension, I felt like a lot of my confidence came from those external things. And maybe it didn't, but it was clouded with those things. And I'm in the beauty industry. I'm always going to be into all the fun things accessible to enhance your look and to look and feel the way you want to. But I do feel that there is a slight trend of scaling back a little bit. And I think that in and of itself is kind of like a quiet luxury. It's also like a self-care in a way, in that I'm choosing what makes me feel good as opposed to being such a slave to a specific look or result. Anyway, this is in no way to shame if you're in love with doing those things like I have in the past. It's in no way to shame you. Whatever makes you feel good is all I'm saying. And if anything, this is more to maybe give you hope that if you had told me this 5 years ago, I would have been like, absolutely not. Am I giving up those things? So maybe just hope that you can find new confidence in not doing those things. Now, while we are still on lengths and cuts, I think we need to talk about the probably most important thing. It almost needs a category of its own, and that is the wispy bang. Again, we've seen kind of iterations of this. We had the curtain bangs like 5 years ago. Then it was like the more straight across wispy bang. This is now like a hybrid. It's between like a Birkin bang and curtain bangs, but then with a little bit more wispiness in the middle. It's kind of like, the way I feel, it's like not fully committed to bangs, but they're definitely there. The good thing about these bangs is I think they grow out really beautifully when you're over them. They'll just kind of give you that like side swoop that I feel like will just incorporate into the rest of your hair a lot nicer than more straight across wispy bangs. Like 1 or 2 years ago where it was that really wispy bang but just straight across, to me that just screamed 90s bang, but like not in a good way. It was not my favorite, and I love so much more this kind of new hybrid bang. But if you're looking to refresh your cut without doing a ton, this is probably what I would add. And again, the overall style is just understated. Less volume, less layering, less contrast. That's kind of how I would summarize all of it. And I know that this is a hair trends video, not a fashion video, but I think it's important to kind of incorporate so you see the full vision. Rewind back to at least, I don't know, 7-10 years ago. I feel like the look was more fitted clothing. That was like big hair, fitted clothes. And I feel like the overall vibe now is more oversized, not so oversized on the hair. So kind of the opposite of what was in 10-ish years ago. And I think this is helpful for my fellow millennials. I think sometimes when we get, you know, this idea of like trends and stuff, it can feel overwhelming. And to me, what always helps is kind of seeing the big picture and mainly a comparison to maybe what was in or something that you understand really well that was in 5-10 years ago. And seeing the contrast of that sometimes kind of really helps me understand the new trend. I think looking at the big picture is a great way to modernize and kind of stay up to date with your current overall style without being a victim to every single detail. All right, let's talk accessories. And I feel like accessories sometimes are in, sometimes are not. And when they are, typically they've been really bold or I feel like there was definitely that trend when music festivals were really big and it was adding a lot of like metal and kind of boho, but still grungy and metally. Whereas I feel like the accessory trend now is, again, soft. At this point, you can have a shot every time I've said soft in this video, but it's the overall vibe I'm saying. And the perfect example for that is the bow. I remember last December 2023, where like bows popped up everywhere on your hair, party decor / holiday. And I felt like in January last year, everyone was like, I'm so over it, I'm so over it. Well, it was back here with a bang for this holiday season. Once again, whether it's a party, whether it was like holiday decor or a hairstyle, I feel like it's definitely still here. But what I've been seeing is different to maybe last year where you would maybe see like a big plush bow. I feel like when it comes to wearing a bow or a ribbon in your hair, it's very thin, understated, a very soft material, maybe velvet, maybe more silky, but minimal. Just, again, just like a little kiss of a bow, not costumey and big. Although we did see those massive bows on Christmas trees this year, not so big on the hair. One thing I do want to leave you with too, in terms of getting inspired with using trends to get inspired. That's always the goal here. Don't watch this video or any other trends information, anything, and think, oh my gosh, I'm like so out of date. Like I've got to follow all these rules. I think if anything, the best way to look at it is you don't have to follow all of these trends. If you're looking to refresh your look, pick one of them, whether it be the color, whether it be maybe add a wispy bang, maybe soften your layering. And it doesn't have to be an overhaul changing of everything. And if you do one thing to modernize or to update your hair this year, I think the biggest thing with all the photos that I've shown you here today is healthy, shiny hair. And I know that might sound so silly because it's like, when are we not after shiny, healthy hair? But I feel like this year, it's about the health and shine over the color. Whereas for so many years, I've seen where bleaching or highlighting or balayaging, that's the main goal, and you would sacrifice hair health to have that color. Complete opposite this year. It's all about nourishing, healthy, just like I said, almost wet looking hair because it is so drenched in hydration. And so if you had to pick a category, that's the one I would run with. Make your hair healthy in 2025 and the color and everything else will kind of just fall into place. All right, that is all I have for hair trends. If there's something that you're seeing that you're wondering about or you feel like I've missed and you want to add it in the comments, please do. But more so, I want to understand like where you guys are at. What hairstyles are you still loving from last year that you think should stay? Or what are you excited for in the new year? Let me know. Also, an exciting announcement for the Ellebangs channel that I will finally be sharing my beauty masterclass here on YouTube. So excited to be sharing that with you guys. I have one other video coming after this one, and from there, I'm gonna be launching my 10-chapter masterclass. So expect that back to back. I hope you love it, and I think it's just a great way to start the year. I think it's a very complete course because it starts with everything from the inside, with confidence, habits, everything that's going to make you like ooze this beauty and confidence from within. And then we go into all the fun stuff that's on the exterior, from skincare to hair care to tips on how to shop, not only for your skin tone and body type, but how to save money and how to really create your perfect closet, your perfect beauty regimen, and where it's completely tailored to you. So anyway, look out for that coming in the next couple of weeks. All right, I'm wishing you a very, very happy new year. May your year feel abundant and may all your wishes come true. All right, I love you and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.